This is Manchester Voices, a podcast run by students at the University of Manchester.
So welcome to this episode of Manchester Voices, where we'll be talking about feeling safe as a student at the University of Manchester, ways we could improve safety on campus, as well as looking forward to our Reclaim the Night campaign, our march on Thursday, 21st of November. But before we get into it, I'd like to introduce myself and the panel. So I'm Aisha, I'm the Wellbeing and Liberation Officer at the Students' Union, and my link to the theme of safety is because I'm the lead on the Reclaim the Night campaign, and I'm also really passionate about safety in the city and helping our students feel safer. Pass on to you.
I'm Honey, I'm in third year and I'm doing criminology. During my course as well, I do a lot of safety and things like that, so I'm really interested in this aspect in the uni, and I also work in retail and hospitality in my time here at university.
Hi everyone, I'm Nancy, so I'm in my first year here at the university and I am studying adult nursing. So obviously being my first year, I am miles away from home, so it's my first time living away from parents, living away from family, living away from my twin sister. So my link to the theme is kind of trying to keep myself safe for the first time in my life, and especially because I'm studying such a vigorous course such as adult nursing. I'm in 5 days a week. I work long shifts in the hospitals, keeping myself safe, coming back from home, going to the hospital, and just in and around my curriculum.
Hi, I'm Ruth. I'm a foundation year medicine student, but it's my second year here in Manchester. And my link to the theme is that I've worked in hospitality over the past 2 years. So yeah, just the process of coming back from work, 3 a.m. A lot goes on. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think we have a good range of perspectives in the room, so I feel like we're going to have a really good discussion. So I think we'll get into the questions. Anybody feel free to jump in at any point. But the first one is, how safe do you feel on campus at night? And are there specific areas or situations that often make you feel less secure?
I'll go first.
Yeah,
I
sure.
always I just feel, when I was thinking about that question, that I've actually always felt really safe on campus at uni. However, I would say aspects of it is probably waiting for the bus at night. Luckily, I don't really spend that much time at night on campus, but that waiting for the bus stop in the dark is usually the bit that I'm a bit unsure about. Does anyone else feel the same?
Funny that you asked that. You'll never catch me outside at night, so I can't really contribute to the conversation in terms of how safe I feel, but generally on campus I feel absolutely fine, really safe all the time. I've met a lovely group of people who I'm always with, and they're like my best friends now, and we're always together, so I think I'm pretty safe in the daytime and the nighttime. All right, really.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I do feel quite safe on campus. I love a late night Ali G session. So I have been on campus quite a lot at night, but it's definitely waiting for the bus. And when there's drunk people and people come and talk to you, it's always a bit often they don't mean anything wrong, but you've always got that thought in the back of your head,
I know.
I've got to keep myself safe.
Yeah. I think because it's so open and spacious as well, and most people in LEG can see out, and most people are students, and also with the fact I don't think I'd be in LEG too late, probably not past 9.
Yeah,
I'm not that much of an academic weapon, but but I know that there's no cars allowed down Oxford Road, isn't it? From is it 6 a.m. till 9 p.m? It's like a big space
it's something
of time,
like that, yeah.
which I think is really nice, because then that keeps that uni bubble really there, which stops outsiders, let's say.
And it's great because there's always buses going down Oxford Road, down into Wimsell Road, so it doesn't matter if you've just ran for a bus and you've missed it, the next one will come in 2 minutes, so you'll never be out stranded by yourself for too long at night time, which I think is a good plus.
No, absolutely. Apart from maybe the edges of uni, maybe
in Rusholme.
What's that space by Alan Gilbert? Not Alan Gilbert, where's it on the very edge?
as in Oxford
Where
Road
the
way?
150 bus goes down there. If you've ever walked down there, then that's a bit precarious as well.
Oh dear.
Are you talking about going into Hume that way?
Could be, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
probably.
I've
I
been
mean,
here 3 years, but I still don't know the
That's
road.
fair. That's fair. But I mean, I'm going to pose a question to you guys. Do you think that differs from like on central campus differs to like university accommodation places? So like Fallowfield, Withington, Rusholme. Do you think do you think your safety feels different
Absolutely.
on main campus?
1,000%. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I always feel much safer, it's really funny because you live in your accommodation, but
Yeah.
I always feel much safer on campus when I know everyone around me is studying at the
Mhm.
same university as me. Everyone's going about their day, heading to lectures, or they've got something to do. I always feel more safe.
And there's
in that bubble.
security on campus as well,
Mhm.
which there is, I think, in the student accom. But if you go privately or like you're sharing a house with people,
Yeah.
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 I actually have a bit of a different experience to the accommodation because I feel like a lot of people in uni went to Fallowfield and was
Mhm.
in that bubble.
Yeah.
But I actually was in Weston Hall, which is in the city. And I don't
Interesting.
think
Oh,
we
yeah.
really had that security that you guys have because we were like right on the city, on like the streets, not on the streets, but you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the safe
there
zone
wasn't
barrier
there
doesn't
wasn't
extend.
that like there wasn't that
Yeah.
fence that went around like Fallowfield, how that does. It was
Mhm.
just the building,
Oh wow.
which I think was probably just a bit different. Like I didn't remember seeing any security, and if they were, I think they were sleeping.
No. I think also one thing to mention, so I live in Oak House down in Fallowfield, just on the topic of Fallowfield. And I think me and one of my flatmates were discussing this at the start of the academic year. And basically I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm the last cohort that's going to be living in Oak House
Yeah, I
this
think
year,
so,
that it's
yeah.
all getting taken
Yes.
down,
Oh,
and
Yeah, the
okay.
Fallowfield.
there's a new building that's coming up. So it was really interesting. So you have 2 keys to enter my building. So one to enter the building. Now the building's got about 3 or 4 flats maybe. And then another key that gets you into your own flat, and that's the same key that you use to get into your own door. So because it's the key that gets you into the flat, that means everybody has the exact same key for their own door.
Really?
If
Oh my
that makes
gosh.
sense. So like
To open your actual flat is the
Yeah.
same way to open your
Your
like,
door.
actual room.
Yeah.
Is it like a card or is it like
no, it's a key.
Wow.
Oh, I
So that
hate
was
that.
that was really interesting. And we were all like, I mean, luckily I live with an amazing bunch of girls, but if you ever had any problems with your
Yeah.
flatmates,
Yeah.
that would be
That would be
quite a
concerning.
scary situation to be in, I'd
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So
Especially because you move in and they're all strangers.
yeah,
like, you
and
don't
you're
know.
all in first year.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah, that's a lot of trust.
Yes.
Having
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
key.
but we're the last cohort that'll
Yeah.
be experiencing it, so it's not too bad.
I think like in like on central university campus, so here, like I've always felt quite safe, but
Mhm.
like in so I moved, so when I was a student I lived in Manchester anyway because I'm from here.
Okay.
So I stayed at home, but I moved to Fallowfield when I started this job last year. And like that was like a completely different experience. Like I think like late at night, because there's like on central campus there's a lot of street lighting, like there's a lot of like people around, but in Fallowfield like sometimes it can feel like you're the only one, and like you're like
Yeah.
you're constantly turning around to see if
Oh
there's
my
like
gosh, yes.
anybody there. I think that's probably the specific areas that make me feel less secure. I think like even like when you get into Withington, it's like the lighting is better. I think it's just the Fallowfield area.
It's a very
That's
dark
it's very
place at
very
night.
like dark and gloomy. Yeah, and especially like late at night if there's a lot of like drunk people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can tend to feel really scary, especially when you're sober. So yeah.
It's the walk from the bus to the house that's the
Yes.
scariest bit. It's like
Yeah.
when you leave, you know, that main road where like Sainsbury's is.
Yeah.
It's when you come off of there that you're like,
Quick feet.
yeah, like just run this last bit.
Especially if you're coming back from all your shopping and you've got all your bags and you
Oh
just
my
speed
God,
walking
yeah.
down the road and all the cars
And
are
it's
passing
dark.
Literally. So just on like the university's current safety services like SafeZone, how do you know about that? Like how do you feel about the service? Do you think there's could be room for any improvement?
I actually really like the service. I think it's really good. I think just having it as well makes you just feel more secure because knowing that someone will come and get you
Yeah.
is actually really nice. I know it doesn't like expand out of the campus area, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So
there's
it's
like
the-
they have like a circle of
Yeah.
like
so it is
the boundaries. Yeah.
half counterproductive because we're saying how safe we feel on campus already, but then it doesn't go beyond campus. I think it maybe should go to the halls, like maybe just that, use that as a boundary line, or make that a new safe zone as
Yeah.
well, because you can't have everybody living out
Of course
there
not,
and
yeah.
like, you know. But I really like the fact that it's easy to use,
Yeah.
it's clear, and I thought also could discuss about like the emotional like safety of it as well. The fact that it offers like the counselling aspect, and the like, maybe if you need to like report a friend that's struggling, that's quite easy to use as well on there.
Yeah. And it's good the way that promote it. So before I moved to university, I remember there was like a website or something of all the apps and all the services that are available for you for when you come to university. So I had already had it downloaded and ready to go before I even got here. So that even calmed my nerves before I even stepped foot into the city, because I knew there was services like SafeZone that were going to keep me protected and help me keep safe. So that was also a nice thing.
That's really interesting that you'd say that.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't actually heard of it until the start of this year. So I'd gone a whole year at uni without knowing that that was out there to be used. But maybe that's my fault.
No,
I
definitely.
don't remember how it was introduced to me. I think it just appeared one day on my phone.
I think like I didn't know until I became an officer about SafeZone, and then I got told about it. So that's like 3 years without knowing about it. But I
Yeah.
think it's like a signposting thing. So like I think just better signposting would probably be helpful.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question. Like, have you interacted with like security on campus or like anything, like the members of security on campus, and if so, like how do you feel about their service there?
I don't think I have, apart from maybe the people that sit on the desk for Ali G.
Okay, yeah.
They
Love
are
them.
so lovely, and they're actually so
Yes.
helpful. I think that they're actually one of my first points of contact that if
Yeah.
I have any
Yeah.
struggle. So no, apart from that, no.
I haven't either. The only security I think I've ever spoke to while I've been here is do you know the guys that just stand outside of Squirrel's Bar? Such lovely people. Just I'll not go in, but I'll have a chat. Be like, because they know me, because I'm always up with my shopping.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hi guys. I'll be like, oh hi Nancy. So yeah, that's nice. But I've never needed to contact security or speak to them about anything serious.
Yeah. I know they walk around Ali G sometimes, and I've seen them go up to like tables with laptops on their own and like kept an eye on it, and then told the person when they come back, oh, it might be a good idea to take that with you. But yeah, I've not interacted with them very much.
Yeah, when people leave their whole Apple ecosystem,
Yeah.
Yes.
out on the,
Yes.
hold their space.
Yeah, like I think laptop theft and bike theft have been like one of the
Oh, bike
main
theft,
conversations
yeah.
of like
Oh,
safety recently. But yeah, I was just asking the question just to see what your takes on security on campus were. But I know like a lot of students have like raised stuff about like the security methods and stuff. So I just wanted to see if you had any take, but that's all good. Yeah, just on the next question. So do you feel like your identity or status impacts your sense of safety on campus? Are there specific services available to help you, or potential room for improvement in that area?
I mean, my status, I would say, like as a woman,
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a uni problem or just a societal problem, but you definitely have to be more cautious. Like, I was actually on the bus today, literally coming here at 3:00. There was like, I got on the bus and there was like a man sitting next to me, and it was just, he wouldn't stop staring at my face, and it was just like, do you know when you're just so uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And that just happens like all the time.
Yeah.
So I think if you're quite like not a confident person, or like a bit
Or shy, or not
unjudged, yeah.
confrontational,
Yeah, I think that is an issue that like you just you could do with some help, like learning how to deal with these issues.
Yeah. And I think it extends beyond campus as well, especially when we were speaking about Fallowfield before. There's a certain point where you get to along where Oxford and Winslow Road meet, where it's almost as if the culture just snaps and changes immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll just see like as a girl, you'll just see loads of men at different restaurants along the street, like waiting for people to come over, or like me and my friends literally got catcalled the other day. It was a 19th birthday on the weekend from this randomer. So that just made us speed walk faster into our accommodation. But yeah, it's definitely really, I don't know if intrusive is the word to use, or very
Yeah,
uncomfortable, I
yeah.
think.
Like, you can just could tell that I was uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and everyone goes about it their own way.
Yeah.
I'm a reactive person,
Yeah.
so I just asked if he was okay. But yeah, definitely the girl standpoint is
Uh-huh. I was
probably
actually
different to the
looking,
boy.
Sorry, I was actually looking on the Reclaim the Night website, and there was a quote on there about like women have a curfew that men don't have.
Oh wow.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought that was quite a good point.
That's
Yeah.
quite powerful,
Yeah.
actually.
Even though you say that, but 3 p.m. Like, they're still out there.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
That's very
Like,
true.
they're
100%.
still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing with maybe status as well, you could talk about maybe, well, I'm from quite a rural area, so I'm from a really small town, and
Where's
coming
that?
here, I'm from Stratford-upon-Avon,
Mhm.
so Shakespeare country.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we don't really have like issues like the the lady that comes on the bus, the one
Uh-huh.
for
the student
yeah,
the
the 147.
I've seen that on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that lady. Like little things like that. I've never been used to, and the fact of like the way that sometimes drugs impact people here as well.
Mhm.
So I think maybe raising awareness of like other issues, so they're not just like forced upon you to
Yeah.
learn.
I also think another bit of identity is just members of the public knowing that you're a student, or assuming that you're a student. It puts you at risk when like you're like going around Fallowfield and you're out of campus. People just coming over to you, or like people trying to scam you and things like that. I've heard
Yeah.
a few stories I'll not mention, but it's yeah, very scary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think like because I'm like queer, I'm also Muslim. Like and obviously a woman. I feel like all those three together like leaves me open to a lot of like issues.
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah.
yesterday, like this woman was just being racist to me in the street,
Oh
which was
gosh.
not fun. But like she was talking about a lot about Muslims and like, and then she said we're all white here, and I said I'm not, but okay. So yeah, that was one of the issues I felt.
What a
I
silly
faced a
thing
lot.
to say.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
biggest multicultural cities in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing, and then like as a queer person, also I don't think people take it seriously. Like when like people try and like flirt, and I'm like I'm not. I'm literally gay, and then they just don't take no for an answer, and they just like keep pestering.
Yeah.
It's not fun. And then yeah, as a woman, I just like normally if I'm going out late at night, I'll literally like put a hood up, put a beanie on, tie my hair back, and go out like that because I feel like it would be
The more
safer
that
that
you
way.
look like a man,
Yeah,
you're safer.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on the flip side of what you were saying about like the problems of it being a big city and coming from a small town, because I do as well, is like I feel like Manchester's so much more open to different things. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
queer
is
as well, and like seeing Gay Village, seeing so many people like coming from different areas, it's so cool. And I feel like in a way
Yeah.
having that community gives you
bit
kind of a safety
yeah.
blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely think that like compared to the stories that other people have told me, like Manchester is like specifically good for queer people. Not always, but
It's better than other
it's
places.
better than places. I mean, I wish it was safe for everyone, but sometimes it isn't. But I definitely think like the Gay Village specifically, I've always felt quite safe in Gay Village.
Yeah.
Like even if I've had issues, like there's always been people to back me and like and to help me and just be like, yeah, that isn't right. Like even yesterday when I was facing that, this guy like came and was like, you shouldn't be saying that. Like so it was really nice to hear. But yeah.
I love that.
So on on the topic of like feeling safe, how safe do you feel traveling to and from campus when you're working late at night? I know you all have like different experiences with that, and you all have different like roles. So yeah, how safe do you feel, and are there any particular challenges you face with the line of work that you do as well?
So working in Piccadilly Gardens, if anyone knows where that is, it's quite famous for having a stereotype. And working there is quite interesting. You definitely come across a lot different types of people.
Right.
That is very different to the atmosphere on campus.
Yeah.
So many stories. weird people. And it's just something you just have to like deal with,
Adapt to.
and and adapt to, because I want to get paid. But what kind of thing would you like me to say about it?
I mean, just like if there's any specific things that you do want to raise about how safe you feel, if you do want to mention any specific things or things that could be changed.
There was this one time, and there was this man, because it's all glass around that one, and there was this man, and he was banned because he had stole stuff. So he wasn't allowed in anymore, and he like had seen me from the glass, and he's like for like an hour like pressing himself up against the glass, like doing like sexual things, and to the point where I actually had to get the manager to like walk me home.
Oh no.
So I think that's always like something that's important. Like, don't ever risk it. Don't be like, oh, he's gone, he's been gone for half an hour, like I'll be fine. Never think like you'll be fine. Just always be safe, and just say, yeah, actually do walk me home, or yeah, I will get an Uber, or any of these things, even if it makes you just feel better. Like, just always do it, because you never know. People are so unpredictable, and you don't know what they're going through in their story as well, why they're behaving like that. So
I'm sorry that happened.
Oh gosh, that's horrible. Sorry, I've forgotten the question.
How safe do you feel traveling to and from campus for work?
So I don't work yet. Fingers crossed. So I am involved with quite a few things in the university. So I really just travel to campus and then back to my accommodation. So genuinely fine. Like I said earlier, I'm always with my group of friends. I think if I was to go to campus alone, I'd probably feel a little bit less safe. But having that group of people that you feel safe with, and peradventure, if anything, there's people with me that can it's such a big place. It's such a big space. There's witnesses everywhere, and I've got my friends here. I feel fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like getting those bonds in, like, especially as you're in first year as well,
So
getting that early is really important. If you don't have that, obviously don't worry, because it comes, it will come eventually. But like having just that group of people just to be like, look, I'm going to be back about 9. Just so they have that in their head, and share your location with people that you trust, obviously, as well. That's really important.
Like, my family's all the way back in Newcastle, but I still send my location to them, even though they've got no idea where I am. So I think that
in terms of your adult nursing course, do you have to do placements at other places that like you have to work later?
Yes, so the placements, because we're in the first semester, so our physical placements in the hospital start next semester, so they start in the new year. But we have done community placements, so that entailed me travelling from Manchester, well, it's still Manchester, but travelling from Fallowfield and Oxford Road into Stockport. That was where my community placement was. And again, there I had, like, you weren't allowed to go on your own. You were put in a group, and you go with that group, and you and your group organise that. So we planned it really well. We got the bus down, we worked out our routes, which clinics we were going to go to, which sites we were going to see, and it was a really good day. But I think that's because like, my course made sure that you've got a group that you're in, that we're not just going to send you to some random town by yourself for the first community placement. to just easy way into learn about health in Greater Manchester. So I felt really safe that day. Probably one of the funnest, best days I've had.
Yeah, it
in
makes it more
university.
fun as well if you've got other
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
you
Especially-
don't-
Yeah.
you
And it
should be
wasn't
out there.
friends.
experience.
It wasn't friends. It was like they just put a load of names down and that was your group. So
So you
you
met
got
new
to
people.
make new friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This is cool. Do you want to go ahead? You have any bit?
Well, over the summer, I was working in Salford at a summer camp at the university, and I know we've spoken a lot about like safety at night time, but of course the really horrific right wing strikes and riots were going on, and people were protesting. So, I guess bringing it back to big city, that's another bad side of it. So we had to like close all the doors and stay inside the uni because there was like the possibility of the protest happening down the street.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I think you've just got to look out for the people you're with and make
Mhm.
sure that
Yeah.
even if it doesn't happen, that you've got like a plan.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's another important thing, maybe for first years as well. If you're going somewhere that you haven't been before,
Mhm.
make sure that like you know your way back.
Yeah.
Don't rely on. I
Someone
know we're
else.
saying rely on other people,
Mhm.
but like also be aware
Yeah,
as
yeah, be
well.
wary.
Carry your
100%.
own things, like carry
Yeah.
your own cards, your own
Yeah.
phone.
Make sure your phone's fully charged.
Yeah.
The amount of
Oh.
friends or people that
Oh
I've
my
encountered that like
gosh.
I've either had to book them Ubers because I'm not comfortable with them getting the bus an hour away because one of my best friends lives in Salford, or I've had to like go halfway to their accommodation and then come back halfway to mine just so they're not by themselves for too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they've not got a fully charged phone or they're out of battery. It's very, very scary.
It's
But
such a
yeah.
big
it just goes
problem.
back to looking out for yourself and looking out for each other.
Yeah.
And the SU has a safe taxi scheme. I don't know if you guys know about that.
I didn't know about it.
But so you phone streetcars, or if your phone dies, for example, you can like tell a bartender, or you can like one of the public phones you can call. Say what's it called? Streetcars, that's the one.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then you come in and pay the fare the next day. You just have to give your ID into the
Taxi
the
guy.
taxi person, your uni ID, not your like
Okay.
personal
Not
ID.
your actual ID.
And
Oh,
then
that's great.
they'll give it to the union, and then you can come and pay it the next day. But that's to help students out if
Yeah,
they
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
if they need it. And we also have it's like our student angels team who go down like the Deansgate Oxford Road corridor and walk down to see if anybody needs help, or if any students are struggling, then they can help with that.
Oh, that's amazing.
See,
but-
I think things like this need to be like advertised more
had
in the
no
unis
idea,
because
yeah.
I never knew about this. Like maybe we should have like a course in first year or something. Like I remember we had like a malpractice little course, like a 20 unit thing.
Yeah.
Like I think they should have something like this as well because like no one. I'm in third year and I didn't know that they
Yeah.
had that.
Wow.
Even just like in Welcome Week,
Yeah.
like, just mention the things that are out there.
Yeah, I think like that's something I've been trying to push. Like obviously consent training was a big one. But and like also talking about all the services, but because there's so many services, like it's really
Yeah.
hard to like find
Push them all. Yeah.
to push them all. But yeah, I do agree that it does need to be like signposted more. I think on that question, like I used to work in hospitality as well. So I worked in a restaurant for 5 years, like not far from here, near Brook Hall accommodation, which is kind of like opposite the Royal Infirmary,
Right.
essentially. But I used to like walk home from there unless my sister picked me up, but that wasn't all the time because she left at one point to go do a different job. So but I would end up like walking home because like my shift would finish at like 12ish maybe, and then I'd walk home because like a taxi was like £6 and walking home was free.
Yeah.
But like like that's also like, especially if you're working so many hours to just like to get money, you don't want to
Yeah.
waste it on
On
Yeah,
taxis. and
on
Ubers,
taxis and
yeah.
Ubers. But sometimes you feel like you should have to.
Mhm.
And that's why, like, as part of the Reclaim campaign, we kind of want to push for employers to like offer their
Yeah.
employees like safe transport home
Yeah, of
if they're working
course.
past a certain hour, because I think it would like
Oh, absolutely,
really
yeah.
really really help
Yeah.
a lot of students, especially like placement students, hospitality workers, people that work in the nighttime economy, especially because Manchester's like really big for nightlife, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of people come here. Like the nightlife, the opportunities that they have to go to like warehouse projects, and like other club nights. But obviously we need to make sure that people are feeling safe enough to do that, because then if people aren't feeling safe, you're not going to get the people there nor the people to work it. Like it's really important, and I think that's why like City Council and the Manchester Combined Authority should be listening to those, if they want like the nighttime economy to survive, essentially.
I know there's a big safety thing with drug use as well, especially like would you count this as a bit of a party uni? I would.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
a bit of.
Yeah. And well, I think it happens in all unis, and I know there's like a few policies that have changed lately as well, which I think are really important. So when I was in first year, if you were caught to be on drugs or anything like that, there was potential threat to be kicked out of your halls. However,
and fined.
I'm fined. And it's been changed now to what will happen?
Harm reduction.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you want to explain or do you want me to?
You can take over for a bit, yeah.
You sure? So essentially, like if you get caught, like it will just be like a welfare check, like is everything okay? But it was like aiming to reduce the harm and like the stigma surrounding drug use, because we know that people are going to do it regardless. We want them to do it safely and practice it safely.
Because there's this whole like, it's uni. I feel like it's an unspoken thing that happens. Like I think people try new things, and I think especially for people that are, I know everyone's 18, but some people aren't like mentally 18, and I think people would do it out of peer pressure, and then they wouldn't maybe ask for help because of this whole you're going to get kicked out and you're going to get fined, and I think that's what led to so many problems with that we still see as well, which is really scary. But I think that's a good safety thing that they've implemented now.
And we also have drug testing kits at the SU as well, to check if you're getting drugs from someone, like if they're safe and not like laced with anything, for example.
Good to know.
Just another question then. How do you think students and local businesses could have influence in making campus safer, especially for those out at night?
Well, I really do like the helping students get home. That's a good thing. Also with the businesses, especially down the main routes walking to Fallowfield. I'm just selecting Fallowfield because it's where most of us live. Sure. Maybe have like lights on all the time. Make
more
it
lights
like,
in that area. It's too,
because it's so dark. And businesses could maybe do more security cameras, or I don't know, or maybe have security guards outside. The only security guards that I really see walking down there is
the squirrel bar people.
Well, 256. That's on the actual like road as well.
Right, okay.
And that's really all I see out of safety when walking down that road. I actually never walk down that road because I never feel comfortable walking down that road. Yeah, and it's also really long. But
was it the park near it? Just
like
my God, at night,
Plattsfield.
if you go to the Plattsfield Park at night, like it's so scary.
I really hope no one's going to Plattsfield Park at night.
I mean, I did, but that was once I was just really stressed, so I just decided to go and like play basketball there. But it was very random. But it's really scary.
Yeah.
I guess on the social aspect side, if you're out and about going home with a group of people and you see someone who looks like a student by themselves, ask them questions. Don't be scared to be like, don't what's the word for it? Don't ignore it and just assume that they're just going home by themselves. You don't know what's happened.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're walking home, they've not got money to get home.
Their
friends have stranded them. Like, you don't know the situation, so simply asking. I think is always the first and the best thing to do.
And like if they're drunk or anything like that, make sure like they know where they're going. Maybe just walk them home. Like we all live in the same area. I'm sure like it's not too far away, or like just put them in an Uber and make sure it's the right Uber.
Yeah.
And things like that.
And like I mentioned earlier, like in our building, there's like 4 flats in the building. So like we all have each other on social media, even though we're not all living in the same space, sharing the same kitchen. It's just good to know like how's everyone doing, how's everyone's
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
been,
Yeah.
just catching up with each other. The other night, a girl not in my flat in the other flat opposite us, came home really drunk. So none of her flatmates, I think this was during reading week, none of her flatmates were in. So we just invited her into our flat, and she was
Oh.
throwing up over our toilet, which we had to clean. But as long as she was safe and she was okay, and she
Yeah.
had people
Yeah.
there for her, we didn't mind.
Yeah.
And I think just not ignoring people. You don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
Of course, look after yourself, but also be of good heart and try and look out for people, even if they're strangers.
Yeah. I think
Checking
like
on them.
Absolutely.
being an active bystander, like
Yeah.
in that sense, because like
Yeah.
even this was like in a separate incident where I was in London one time and this guy was following me.
Oh,
So
God.
then like there was 2 people, like 2 girls that were like stood over the River Thames, and I was like, he's following me, please can you like look
Mhm.
after me. They walked me like straight to the
Oh, bless
like
them.
the underground station, and like took my number, made sure I was okay, make sure he wasn't following. And it's just like things like that can always be really
Mhm.
nice, even like if people are coming to you saying I don't feel safe, like
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
with them, because there's strength in numbers.
yeah.
Mhm.
In that sense. And I think like just making sure you're aware of your surroundings and aware of things.
Mhm.
Yeah, even simply just walking with someone
Yeah.
to somewhere that they find safe,
Yeah.
or like even when I did like a late night silent disco DJ shift, and like these girls that were in the silent disco were like, oh, like, are you okay getting home? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. But it was nice that they
Yeah.
were like considerate and like caring, and like
Mhm.
be like, are you sure you're okay? And
Oh, bless
yeah,
them.
it was really lovely. I think just like being wary, being open, and just like keeping an eye and
Mhm.
being
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something that I would want to mention that might be a bit controversial to the university culture is so with the whole societies and the whole freshers thing as well.
sure.
I feel like something that people could maybe take more responsibility of is looking after their freshers, and maybe because you know all the
Mhm.
stories of like the societies
Yeah.
and things like that, and how it can be a bit like leery. But I don't think you should maybe not force, but like force people to drink so heavily on these nights out,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like almost not
Especially
keeping up with them, like not
at the
keeping an eye
start
on
of the
them.
academic year.
Yeah,
It's very
there's been so many times that I've been in like 256
Mhm.
and I'm like in the toilet and some girl is just not okay, and it's like you're meant to be in a society, in a group, like what's
of
happened.
people,
Yeah, and I've got friends that were in those societies as well, not going to mention them, but like the things that I used to hear that they used to like kind of peer pressure them to do, it's like,
Yeah.
come on now, you're a social sec or like something like that, you should have some responsibility to like know people's limits. Like
Yeah.
I know it's funny,
Mhm.
I'm doing air quotations,
Mhm.
but is it like I
Yeah.
feel like you should maybe take on a bit more responsibility of these
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And I think like what some societies have said has really helped is to have like at least 1 or 2 sober committee members,
Yeah.
because
right.
like if you're having socials where drinking is involved, then yeah, making sure you have somebody that is like is fully concentrated on making sure that everybody is
Yeah.
safe in that situation. They might not be able to control it all, but at least you have them there.
Yeah, exactly. I
If
think that's a
you
good
if
idea.
you're struggling, or if somebody needs an Uber home, or so even at like the Feminist Collective ball last year, like one of my friends was the sober member, and it was just nice to have them like being able to check in with everyone. I think the drinking culture is like heavy in sports clubs.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Massive.
I'm not
yeah.
talking about my societies. Love everybody. Just saying.
Yeah. Especially for freshers who've just turned 18 and they're in a new city.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
haven't got their group yet and they're trying to socialise.
Yeah, they're
It's
just
like,
trying to like keep up.
Yeah. Someone look out for them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other thoughts on general safety just before we wrap up? And I'll talk briefly about our reclaim aims, but yeah, feel free to mention anything.
Yeah, I've got one more. Just another thing that the uni has also implemented this year is the seats thing, which is a love-hate relationship for some people.
Yeah. It's definitely love-hate.
Yeah. Whenever I hear people talking bad about it, I'm just like, I feel like it's really important to have though, to like keep checking up on the students.
Yeah.
Because some people could like go missing or anything, but without this like checkup of the attendance and things like that, I think it's actually really important, and I like that we have it now. And I also love that it says 100%. Like,
Oh, flex.
Go on. I want to hear your take, Nancy.
Where do I start? So, at the start of the year, I was like, "Oh, this makes so much sense. Like, you just have to log your attendance online and say you're there." But a problem that actually arose, out of my course was, one of our senior lecturers actually emailed all of us students. Now, my cohort is about a group of students of 300 people, just under 300 people. And what was happening was, people who weren't in attendance would get their code off friends and off peers and log their attendance and say they were there but they weren't. And obviously studying a healthcare registered course with a code and a guideline and a registered regulated body, I think that's the word, it obviously like given a rise to questions on people's fitness to practice, even though we're not registered nurses yet and we're still students. So that kind of shook everyone up, and we were like, oh, sorry guys, I'll not be sending the code in anymore. And sometimes it would just, some lecturers don't use it, some lecturers still use manual registered. So you would, for that lecture, you would not have a code because there wasn't one, and then it would log you in absent when you were there. That was quite frustrating. But apart from that,
yeah, of course, I would not have, because I don't do nursing or anything really that serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, no, it's the same for us as well.
Annoying.
In medicine, yeah.
Definitely no sharing allowed.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of the student concerns were because last year it was like in-person check-ins for international students, and wanted to have a system where it would feel like we're doing welfare checks on everyone. So I think the people that didn't get checked in last year feel like they're doing it to like monitor them rather than like welfare. And I think that's because like a lot of people can't come to, I mean, cost of living, like a lot of people can't come to lectures because they have to work in order to pay for university. So I think like they think that they're going to get in trouble if they don't attend the lectures. I mean, in your courses it might be a little different, but they're usually quite mandatory. But I think they'll think they'll get in trouble if they don't attend, essentially.
Yeah, it's just a welfare check.
Yeah,
it's all about safety.
But yeah, any other thoughts? It's okay if not.
Sometime at like 9 o'clock tonight, I'll think of another topic. But I'll be at home.
I should have mentioned that.
But no, that's all I can think of.
Generally feel safe in Manchester.
Yeah, I've loved it so far. Honestly, I've had I've only been here 2 months, and I've had the best 2 months of my life. So it's been really good. Really good.
I think obviously we have our Reclaim the Night campaign every year. Which has led well, I wanted it to be more student led this year, but I'm like essentially the campaign lead, and then I like mobilize students to to figure out our aims for the campaign and what Reclaim should look like. So this year we've decided on 3 key aims. So one of them is like to have a night bus that runs 24 hours for people that might need to get buses but miss the last bus. For example, from town it's like 4:30 the last bus. But if people are working placement or people are working like long hours early into the morning, some clubs are open till like 7 a.m. But yeah, some bus services don't run until then, so 24-hour bus service, but making sure that we have like people on those buses to make sure everybody's safe. Like for example, similar to like the student angel system of having people that are actually there for like welfare checks, and not necessarily like police, because students often don't feel safe with police on transport, which is so fair. And the second one is like lobbying for like the council to put in like a legislation or policy that means that employers would have to pay for their employees to get home safely.
Yeah.
Whether that be like a bus ticket or a taxi home, whatever, it's up to the employee. But that's something we really want to push for. And the third one is like trans inclusion within like conversations about nighttime safety. Because like a lot of the steering group that have steered the campaign this year are trans and feel neglected by the city, because there's obviously like women's safety is a massive thing, but also there's a lot of like transphobia and gender-based violence towards trans people. That is also really important to address. So that's our 3 aims for Reclaim this year.
That's so great.
So
I really
it's
hope
going to be
those all come to fruition. Those are some really, really great ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you. And hopefully you'll see you there on the 21st.
For sure.
We're doing banner making the day before. And we've got a football game with the Vice Chancellor and
that's exciting.
I mean, if you guys are so our officers, there's 8 of us. One of them is unable to make it because they've got a concert. But it's us and then the Vice Chancellor and the Chief Operating Officer, he's called Patrick. So they'll be playing football with us at Sugden Sports Centre on Friday. So it's free tickets. So I mean, if you're down to come down, then we'll see you there.
Well, I'll be there.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you for coming and for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you very much.
No worries.